ishirini, safari anza ya kutuunganisha kama Wakenya. Twende tukiuke, twende tukiuke. Let's go beyond, let's go beyond. Let's go beyond. Mimi na wewe tukibuni, kazi nzuri ya kujivunia. Let's go beyond, let's go beyond. Kwa juhudi na matumaini, twaelekea kesho pamoja. Twende tukiuke, twende tukiuke. Safaricom.
Welcome back. As you can see, I'm seated and I'm ready for the conversation. I'm about to have an amazing value conversation with the gurus of the industry, with those who've been doing it for years. Actually, those who've been doing this for decades. We've got Bien-Aimé Alusa. He is the director of Soul Generation. He's an entrepreneur. He's the co-owner of Pace Soul. He's going to be telling more about this. Now listen to this. Give him a word and he'll write a whole song. Completely immersed in his musical passion, Bien is constantly seeking to get to the next level and can usually be caught somewhere just strumming his guitar. His writing has been featured on multiple artist projects and has taken him around the world. He is the embodiment of his favorite animal, a rooster. Now, don't get it twisted. In the presence, we have a Grammy Awards winner. Big up Bien. Whether did I get the second name right?
You didn't, but it's okay, man. Like,
It's all
I'm
right.
used to it at this point.
Just say it vizuri.
It's Bien-Aimé.
Bien-Aimé.
Oui.
My bad.
Iko sawa, iko sawa.
Oui, oui,
Thank
oui.
you.
Okay, let's go to the bold entrepreneur, guys. Bien, but then there's like a light reflecting over here into my guy.
On my eye, on my glasses.
No, it's from your bald head. To
Oh, yeah. The beam.
Anyway, Bien.
Yeah.
Beyond just, first and foremost, man, congratulations on being part of somebody who has contributed to Grammy Award.
Well, thank you, man. Hopefully, very soon we bring it home.
So
And
let me
have one
first
for
know,
ourselves.
What did you do for you to have a Grammy?
Oh, well, I have songwriting and production credits on Burna Boy's album. And Burna Boy's album is a Grammy Award-winning album. So we were privileged enough to be songwriters. And I didn't go myself. I went with a team. So my Sauti Soul brothers, Ben Soul is also in the team that helped come up with the song. And I have Trevor Magak, an engineer, who is a Kenyan engineer, who was also on the team. So I think it takes a team to win a Grammy.
Fire emojis was saying.
And that's what happened.
I mean, we're doing the Baze Creators Garage and we're throwing words like Grammys with the panelists.
Yeah,
man.
So let me ask you a question. Just beyond brand endorsement, what other avenues are there to make money? Especially for you speaking as an artist in a musician.
Yeah. Well, one thing that COVID has really taught all of us as an industry is that we need to diversify our business portfolio. Because I think we were very comfortable in the beginning, and all we did care about was just shows and streams, and maybe merchandise, like the traditional ways of making money in the industry. But last year, I didn't have shows, I didn't have streams, I had to keep the lights on. I had a label I'm running that was like my baby, my legacy as well. So the first thing that we did last year was sign a deal for a reality TV show. And it allowed us to get some upfront payment to at least keep the lights on. But at the same time, it opened up so many opportunities for us because, first of all, it gave the fans an opportunity to know who, like, members of Soul Generation actually are and see how we run our business from the back. So it's not a mystery anymore when we are asking for what we are asking for because you know the work that goes in. But also on a reality show, on any show, you guys can back me on this if I'm right. There is product endorsement, there's product placement, and there's product mention. And those are all things that you monetize along the way on top of the digital aspects of it on social media when you're pushing the show. So we were able also to have those good relationships with brands when they were and how they were able to plug into the show. Product endorsement is like, for example, napenda hii maji ni poa. Product placement ni maji iko juu ya meza. Product mention is, hey, ile maji iko hapo. So there's just very many ways to monetize the reality aspect of the whole industry. Second is streaming. Like streaming has opened up in a crazy way. Like right now, we have the big wigs like Spotify coming into Kenya.
Bien, let me ask you.
Yeah.
Let's get into some numbers here.
Okay.
What kind of numbers have Sauti Soul streams?
Wow.
50
So
million? 10 million?
no. Our target with Universal for Midnight Train was 100 million streams, which we have already surpassed.
Wow.
So the question was, should we do a deluxe version of the album
Yeah.
to get to 200 million, or should we just do a new album altogether? And yeah, we got 100 million streams on that.
This is insane.
And actually, it's so crazy that from the 100 million streams, 42 million streams are from Susanna.
Whoa.
That's the madness, yeah.
Wow.
And how does the money look? Is
money
that
looks
is that
great.
good? Is that good?
I mean, I'm cutting cake with Universal. So like, it's one of those questions where do you have 20% of 100 million, or do you have 100% of 10 million? And it's what I used to get a long time ago, but now I think our streaming has gone up, I think 400, 500% right now.
Wow.
We're streaming more than we ever have. Off of my old, like my survival in the pandemic period has been off of my old catalog that I'm not even monetizing with Universal. So like the Mwanzos, the African Sauce, and all those other albums that we did. And it has taught me that the algorithm is a respecter of quality and consistency. So like if you're a creator of music, like it's not enough to just do, we used to do a song a year, a few years ago. Oops, this year ametoa ngoma, ametoa a big song. I remember, man, we monetized Sura Yako for 3 years. And it was just the shows and the shows and the shows. But now people are forgetting much faster, but at the same time, if you have the bulk to support that, the revenue is great.
I love it. And Bien, we're going to come back to you and dig deeper into this. First of all, big ups, 100 million plus. I love hearing that. Guys.
I'm not done with my revenue streams.
Oh, nice. There's still more.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
You see, now when COVID happened, we all moved to the virtual space. So the first person to do a virtual concert was Nyashinsky. And he showed us the way because we copied his model. But now, where he made mistakes, Nyashinsky was open enough to share with us his tribulations and his challenges with the whole thing. So we were able to improve on where he made mistakes and take it to a different level. So for our virtual experience, we spent, I think, $50,000 shooting it.
$50,000. We're talking
Yeah.
about 5 million shillings.
Yeah, it's 5 million shillings. And it was crazy at the time because I trusted a bunch of kids who just came and told me, yo, I have this amazing idea of how your virtual concert should look like. So it was a mixture of content, it was a mixture of so many things. But from now, the sponsorships and the squeeze backs that you see on the screen and the different endorsements that we got, Safaricom was amazing enough to give us like $20,000 and help give us a proper, a bundle that our fans can use to stream the show. With those partnerships, we got $100,000. So we doubled and got 10M. I don't think I've ever been paid 10M to perform in a show anywhere, but now from the online space, that's the revenue we're looking at. And even as we grow now, to not only get money from corporate, but also to involve the fans, because the fans now also need to understand that this is a concert like any other. And I can pay even if it's 50 shillings, if it's 5 shillings.
Yeah.
I agree.
And what you realize is now that is a new revenue stream that shouldn't die. Even after things open up,
Yes.
the concept of you watching a virtual show should continue to live. And I think COVID is about business. COVID is business unusual.
Yep.
So business unusual means that
Business unusual for the rest of
unusual
life.
things, and the whole world is moving into the digital space. So that's another source of income that we're able to, create during this pandemic. We also created headphones, a partnership with Pace.
The Bien show. The Bien, this guy.
You call me for questions.
No, I love it. No, keep going.
Yeah, so we partnered with Pace, and we made an amazing, incredible headphones that are currently doing very well in the market. and we're just pushing, man. And Safaricom also, once again, has been amazing enough to allow us to stock our headphones in all their branches worldwide. Yeah,
Worldwide within,
I was going to say
within the
countrywide,
Kenyan
but I'm like,
region.
no, we are worldwide. And yeah, so that's that, including many other things that we're still, in the creative process.
I love it. So, Bien, this question's for you. Now, hey, you guys had big plans for 2020-21, and you've told us a little bit about the disruption that has happened.
Yeah.
You guys were to tour the globe. You signed a deal with Universal. Man, you guys are the ones who've been forced to strictly reinvent.
Yeah.
But now this is the question. You've answered a bit of it, but specifics. How are you guys making money in this pandemic?
In this pandemic, as I said, like,
Andela? Yeah?
sorry, in this pandemic, as I said, man, we are making money through innovation and how we've been able to like reinvent ourselves and cracking the code of like understanding streaming and how to like monetize fully the digital space. So I would say like the bulk of our cash has come from the digital space, and that is set to improve over the years.
Yeah.
I mean, our projections in the next, like maybe say now to 5 years, I really hope that every year on a minimum from streaming alone, I haven't even talked about endorsements or any other business venture, we'll be able to cap at, to make $1 million minimum.
From streaming alone.
Yeah. From
Yeah.
streaming alone, just like from streaming, from listening to the music.
And you
that's
know,
what
you're speaking here in dollars. We're talking about 110 million shillings.
Yeah.
I think just mention that part of it is going to Universal.
Yeah, just to be
Because
safe.
Yes, you gotta check it. Because, like, I learned about streaming and it even changed a lot of things, by the way. It changed how I write music. It changed how I package my product as a musician. Streaming is trying to get people to listen to your stuff for as many minutes as possible. So how do you create a piece of work that when I start playing song number 1, I play till song number 13,
Yeah.
Attention.
Exactly, and you're fighting so many things, man. You're fighting with the scroll, with what? All these animals of people's thoughts. So, like, first of all, in future, we're going to be making shorter bodies of work, but never just one song. Because if you're making one song, you're putting too much pressure on that one song to deliver for you a bulk of emotions. So we're going to be making bodies of work, and these bodies of work are going to be like 20, 15-minute lessons, EPs. And that 20, 15 minutes is where we're earning our revenue from. And I'm so positive because when I look at the revenues of, it's the big songs that pay for the small songs.
Yeah.
But the small songs, the big songs are a chopper. I learned this from a friend of mine. The big
My
songs,
friend called Richie.
the big songs are like a chopper. They go up this way. The small songs are like a plane. They lift off. And what I've realized now, even from my album, is that a song like Nenda Lote Mama is actually doing better than the hits, than Susanna and the Insecures, because it was a slow riser, but it's always rising.
Yep.
So that streaming animal is what we need to understand as a people, and understand that even in your album, when you're creating music for streaming, you create music that's in the same temperament. So you don't create a club banger, and then a slow song, and then a what, because you're giving somebody a chance to scroll to the next.
Yeah.
I learned that from Wizkid's album too. When I listen to the first song and the last song, they're all in the same like beat. You're like, this guy can't, this is not creative, these beats are the same, but no. There's
Psychology.
a reason why it's the way it is. It streams properly. It's supposed to just flow.
I learned that from the Snoop album, Doggy Style.
Exactly.
It just flows.
It just
from
flows.
number
Like when you
one
put
to-
song number 1,
Yeah.
before you know it, there's song number 2. The music never really stops.
Yeah.
Because Burna Boy's mom is talking in the middle, telling you in Africa right now. So you listen to that as well. Before you know it, you're in a new
Yep.
song.
Yeah.
And I've learned how to manipulate that animal, and that's why I'm saying like I am seeing so much grace in that particular revenue stream. Also, something that I want us to really build more on is the reality content that we're going to be doing.
And we're
I
going to
hope-
come. We're going to come
I hope
because
we can
you
grow.
guys have a reality show.
Yeah, I hope
Don't
we
worry.
can grow to have spin-offs like you, and have Bensoul do his own show,
That would be so
and have
cool.
Viri do his own show. Like, how do we grow like that as well?
Yeah.
How do you maintain quality? And anybody can take this one. How do you maintain quality when you don't yet have the fans? That's a very good question.
You need to leverage on your relationships.
Yes.
Yeah.
9 out of 10 times, if you're making content, you surround yourselves with other people who are making content. Now, the money aspect is how you're going to pay your friend, How are you going to pay your friend who's a director? How are you going to pay your friend who's a photographer? How are you going to do this? But if your vision is something that is legit, you get, a vision is an infectious thing. Like the vision of the CEO drives the whole company. And so like if the holder of the vision wants to see this thing work, then your relationships are sometimes even 70% of the cost.
I love that.
And then finally, I had a conversation one day with a lady called Sylvia Mulinge. And she told me that a lot of people just don't start because they're waiting for things to be perfect for them to start. But it's progress, not perfection.
I love it.
So you just keep on moving. And with time, the quality of your product increases.
Yep. I love that. I call that the Nike philosophy. Just do it. Just start.
Just start,
Just
man.
start.
You know,
How can a script writer get in touch with Moonbeam? And I'll also add on that and say, is script writing become a career that people in Kenya can live off?
I even have like the same I have the same issue with songwriters. You see, now, in Kenya we are always talking about how like, that guy is dope because he writes his music. But Rihanna has never written a song in her life. And Rihanna's catalog is worth more than any catalog I know in this country. And last year in January, I had the pleasure of going for a songwriting trip where I went to write for a German artist. And there is where my eyes were opened. Like, songwriters in Germany are given a songwriting advance of up to 70,000 euros. That's 7 million shillings. So you go to Germany. So you find like someone who lived in like maybe another city, like in Stuttgart or where, now can afford to live in Berlin and chase their songwriting dream. Now, these songwriters all meet in a room every day for 365 days and write one song a day. When I went there the first day, because of my hunger as a Kenyan, I was called to write hooks and choruses.
Yes.
I wrote 7 on the first day.
But you were contracted as
I was contracted as a songwriter. But now, on the second day when I went there with my fire, they told me, no, we don't work like that here. Here we do 1 song a day, but we do 365 songs. That consistency. And I would like to open that up also for songwriters here and for artists to understand that on the value chain of music, songwriters are very much the backbone of the storytelling element of the song. And in Kenya, I want us to get to a level where Soul Generation can even give an artist an advance so that when you're writing songs, you're not worrying about your immediate bills.
I love what you're saying. In fact, big shout out to one of the people who I know who is a great songwriter, Riga Pitson, amazing songwriter, plus a whole bunch of other people. Bien will shoot me if I just let this session end without him saying something.
I just want to talk about ownership and how important it is, you know, to have the legal side of your work registered in your name or in whichever entity you represent. You know, a lot of times we don't understand the value of ownership until when you start hearing deals of Insignia buying Beyonce's catalog for $88 million. And you see someone like Bob Dylan, who is like in his 80s, being given $300 million for his catalog, and so on and so forth. A lot of young musicians right now who are on the come-up phase haven't consolidated their work. So because you're an amazing rapper, you go to different studios, and in every studio you have a verse. And I'm sure you've been in that stage in your career also, Esther, where you're just like, you have a verse in this studio, you have a verse in this studio, and it's cool, it's really cool until it's not. Because that verse it becomes the intellectual property then of the producer who has paid for that record, for the content. So it's very important early on in your career to understand ownership is the end goal. And you're in this for the buyout.
I love it.
I'm making this Sauti Soul music right now because it will be valuable for me in the future. And so I have to really make sure that my split sheets are in order and all the rights holders in my music are in order. In fact, if you look at Midnight Train, your average song has even 3 to 4 writers. And it's deliberate so that we get the best. But also, it's important that your stakeholders, your writers, and everybody knows what they own, where, how. So that at the end of the day, ukisikia Sauti Sol ameuza catalog yao for X amount of billion, usikuja kusema, mimi niliandika hii song nini. Tulikuwa na wewe Bien hiyo siku. Tulikuwa na wewe, you know, like these things, and I can just go like miss kuoni kwa split sheets.
Yeah.
So it's very important to have your work copywritten. It's very important to understand the legalities behind your content, and no matter what stage you're in, respect your content, respect your art. So like have your copyright, have your hizo vitu zote zenye ziko legally, you know, involved in the ownership of your art, your intellectual property. Please understand that animal before you throw yourself out there.
I love it.
Yeah.
This question is great conversation. Edwin says, great conversation, very insightful panel. What can you advise an upcoming artist in terms of countering competition from foreign content? How should they position their digital marketing strategy?
Well, sorry, is it my question?
I know Fakir is very passionate about this.
Actually, I'd like him to answer.
You know, the issue, especially in a pandemic, is how, okay, the guy who is watching you is also watching Davido and is watching Ariana Grande. So how do you put yourself in a position where your product can compete? I feel like if you're an upcoming artist, you don't want to compete with Davido. You don't want to compete with, you want to do you at the best scale. But what I often find is a lot of people want things to be done for them. And so what do you do for yourself in a pandemic? You manage yourself. Before you find somebody to manage you and take you to the next level, because there's this whole illusion in your head that a manager is going to come from the sky and rescue you from your situation and see your magic and show the world your magic. But a manager can only manage somebody who can manage themselves. Managing yourself. A
manager can only manage
somebody who can manage themselves. If you're an artist and you're drinking too much, then you're unmanageable. You know, if you're an artist and you're sleeping too much, you're unmanageable. So how are you managing your time? Because this thing is your 9 to 5. So if you're a songwriter, write for me a song every day in a pandemic. Don't complain about the lockdown. I mean, the lockdown is hurting everybody. Me pia mimi naumia, sina do. Lakini, I have to make sure that I'm consistently growing my craft every day. If you're a writer, there's so much, this is the information age. How are you managing your time to hone your skills during this period? Take this season to be a master's degree and manage your time properly so that by the end of the pandemic, when Kobe was waking up at 4 a.m. to play basketball and to practice, 5-6 seasons later, no player in the NBA can catch up with him because he's just done more time. So like I think it's important that people understand that doing your time, putting in your hours is a 9 to 5 like any other man. After this, I'm going to go to the studio and figure my life out there. So I'm advising other people
and put
also.
It on a song.
Yeah, instead of worrying about competition and what and what, close your eyes and better yourself.
Okay, Bien. But no, for real, is there anything that you guys would like to even respond, even on the digital tax? And I'm going to call Kito back because I've got an question from the audience.
I'll be honest, man. Like on the digital tax, I feel like there has not been consultation to understand the needs of the industry before you put the tax on it. Because even as a normal business, I'm taxed after my expenses. I'm taxed after, like I put down my expenses as a company, and these are my profits, and then this is what I'm taxed based on that. And here we're taxed based on gross. You know, and you don't understand that Fakir may have $1 million to shoot something, but 99 it's just expenses, man.
You're a channel of that money.
Yeah. So I feel like a proper understanding of our needs would be appreciated before we are taxed.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wamesema hakuna harusi.
Kwa nini? Hapana, haiwezekani. Maisha harusi lazima itaendelea.
Piga Brian record tustrimiwe ndio.
Nasema Safaricom iko na 500 MB free kila siku. Sasa tunaweza kustream hiwe tu.
Get 500 MB free kila siku and never miss a moment.